Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're going to unpack a deeply chilling and incredibly atmospheric narrative. We aren't just looking at a simple ghost story full of cheap jump scares here. We're dissecting a terrifying tale of supernatural vengeance that actually hides a profound, unsettling psychological truth about human nature. So get comfortable, because this narrative out of Jake Hall Village, it's going to stay with you long after we're done.
The coming generations suffer for the sins of their ancestors. I want you to really let that sink in for a moment. This is the central, terrifying thesis of the story we're about to break down. It tells us right out of the gate that the horrors terrorizing the present day are deeply rooted in the unspoken, unpunished crimes of the past.
Section 1. The Terrifying Night in Jockhole. Okay, let's dive into this and plunge straight into the visceral horror. The story doesn't waste any time at all. It throws us immediately into a freezing, fog-choked night. Our main characters, Aryan and Pooja, literally watch their friend Atul get violently dragged out of his home by an unseen supernatural force, completely blowing past the desperate warnings of Aryan's mother. And Aryan and Pooja aren't just chased by some vague shadow. No, they're confronted by a ghastly woman wearing a long veil. As the cold wind blows that veil back, they see her reversed feet dragging in the dirt, heavy anklets echoing in the dead silence, and a rotting face with glowing yellow eyes. It is a visual so incredibly terrifying that just seeing it causes Pooja to faint on the spot and leaves their friend Atul dead from pure fright. I mean, his eyes were wide open in frozen terror.
And here's the number that turns this from an isolated tragedy into a widespread nightmare: 50. We find out from Aryan's distraught mother that this was not a one-off attack. This monstrous entity, this Pichichini, has been coming to the village every single new moon night for 50 years, taking the life of a villager every single time. It's this ongoing generational cycle of terror that the village has just passively accepted out of sheer absolute dread.
Section 2. Meeting the Agori. Fueled by grief, Aryan refuses to just accept this, and his quest for answers begins.
Aryan and Pooja are prompted by the cryptic advice of an old woman in the village, who, by the way, notes that everyone else is just too cowardly to even speak of the ghost. So they arrive at an ancient cremation ground. The scene we get here is incredibly vivid. The Agori's presence is deeply unsettling. I mean, he's covered head to toe in cremation ash. His eyes are a piercing, glowing red. And before he even helps them, he chugs this mysterious black liquid from a dirty bottle and breaks into a frantic, terrifying dance around an old tree. But, it's Aryan's absolute, unwavering thirst for revenge that ultimately convinces this chaotic, powerful figure to actually sit down and help them.
Section 3. Lilavati's painful past. Now, what's really interesting about this is how we shift gears from present-day monster hunting to a heartbreaking historical tragedy. The Agori drops a massive reveal. The ghastly woman haunting them? That's actually Tuckarain Lilavati. Half a century ago, she was this beautiful, pure, and incredibly kind woman who treated the villagers like family and was so deeply respected. So you have to ask yourself, how does someone so fundamentally good transform into a vengeful, terrifying, rotting monster?
Let's walk through this timeline. Her tragic fall starts with her benevolent life, sure, but everything gets ripped away because of her husband, the powerful and intensely jealous Tucker Ratan Singh. Out of pure, baseless paranoia, he falsely accuses Lilavati of having an affair with an innocent young gardener named Pawan. In this incredibly cruel ultimatum, the doctor kicks her out, challenging her to find just one single person in the village who will vouch for her purity. If she can, she stays. If not, she's banished. And guys, this brings us to what is honestly the most agonizing, psychologically horrific moment of the entire story. Lilavati walked through that village, weeping, desperately knocking on the doors of the very people she had spent her entire life helping. She begged for just one person to speak the truth. But, out of fear of the talker's wrath, the entire village stayed completely silent. Not a single door opened. Heartbroken, totally abandoned, she wandered into the dark forest, slipped, and drowned in an ancient, cursed well. It was a village's silent cowardice that trapped her soul in torment and literally birthed a monster.
Section 4. The Cursed Well and Liberation. Let's ramp the energy back up as we jump back to the present day.
The Agori gives Aryan a handful of cremation ash and lays out 3 incredibly perilous steps clearly. First, he has to go to that very same cursed well in the dead of night.
Second, he must physically descend into it, and when the terrifying spirit of Lilavati manifests, he cannot run. He has to do exactly what his ancestors 50 years ago completely failed to do: stand his ground, show absolute courage, and apply that ash directly to her forehead to liberate her soul. I must face the fear. Aryan's determination here is absolutely locked in. Even with Pooja practically begging him not to go, Aryan knows that unless he confronts this terror head-on, the cycle will literally never end, and his friend Atul's death will have meant absolutely nothing. So he jumps straight into the dark, freezing water of the haunted well.
The water is churning, icy winds are howling, and the rotting face of the Pishachini rises from the depths, right in his face. But Aryan, he doesn't even blink. He strikes fast, slamming the cremation ash right onto her forehead. The spirit screams in agonizing pain, and they watch her rotting form slowly dissolve into thick smoke until she just completely vanishes into the air. Just like that, the 50-year curse is finally broken.
Section 5. The terrifying consequence of silence. So the crucial point is that the story doesn't just end with the defeat of a monster. So Aryan is pulled from the well, and the next morning, the village wakes up free from the terror of the new moon for the first time in half a century. They're hailing Aryan as a hero. But here's the kicker. Aryan wants absolutely nothing to do with them. He is so utterly disgusted by the deep-rooted cowardice of the village, the exact same cowardice that allowed this whole tragedy to happen in the first place, that he packs his bags, grabs Pooja, and leaves Jakol forever, vowing to never return. And even though the ghost is officially gone, those eerie winds still blow through the trees. It's like a permanent scar on the land itself. The true horror was never the ghost. It was the cost of staying silent in the face of injustice. This is what you should really take away from this explainer today, because it's so easy to look at a supernatural story and just focus on the rotting teeth and the glowing eyes, right? But the source material is explicitly pointing the finger at the everyday, normal human beings hiding in their homes. When good people stay quiet while the innocent are destroyed, they are actively creating the monsters that will inevitably come back to haunt them.
I want to end things today by leaving you with a final provocative question. Think about this. If just one person, literally just a single villager, had the courage to open their door and speak the truth for Lilavati that night, would this terrifying tale have ever been written at all? It's a pretty devastating reminder of the power of our voices and the horrific cost of our silence. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.